If you're just joining us, the man himself is here, 2008 Olympic 800-meter legend, Wilfred Bungei. We've been talking about everything to do with, his running and how he started, and his highs. He's talked about some of his lows, and the conversation is ongoing. Wilfred, tell me, us in media, we don't, like me personally, I have a difficult time watching myself on TV. I see everything wrong with what I'm doing. I look at my hands, I'm like, I should not have said that, maybe I should have said this. Do you watch your own races?
I can tell you that, like, I think we share the same, thinking. Yeah. Because I've seen many athletes, they compete, and then after that they come and watch their races, how they were doing it. I'm one person that most of the races that I would watch is probably maybe if I'm going to a show and then they show a certain race that I was running. Mm-hmm. I hardly use that as an inspiration. Of course, I mean, we have different athletes that they come and watch so that they see what mistakes they made, what can they be able to correct. But unfortunately,
do you think you're a harsh critic of yourself?
Absolutely, I am. Very, very harsh. And that's why I wouldn't like to see some of the mistakes maybe that have happened. Because again, it will cloud my let's say, if it is about running, for example, it will cloud my next running because I will be thinking about those mistakes instead of total concentration of the race. So that is why I hardly watch. I mean, most of the time, and I would surprise you that when you are an athlete, and especially being able to perform in that very high level, you don't want to get associated so much and being there, because the pressure comes. Like for me, when you say, are you a critic of yourself, is I always imagine that when I watch the race, I put myself in the same pressure that I used to have while I was running. And that is why for me, watching athletics is not so much of a big thing, unless there is a certain race that I have a lot of interest in. Yeah. That's what I can able to watch.
Just tell me, two more challenges just before we switch gears. One is fame. Mm-hmm. How did you handle fame? And what role did it play in you going down the path that you did?
I can tell you that, I mean, that's a very good question. One is, handling fame is not very easy, and especially if you have won a bigger race. Mm-hmm. Many Kenyans that we always say Kenyans is a powerhouse in athletics. Yeah. And you ask yourself, if we are truly a powerhouse, and we are, then why is it that there are few athletes that you can count now when you hear about their names? I mean, we have got thousands of us, but maybe people who stand out, you will talk about Eliud Kipchoge, Paul Terkat, Catherine Dereva.
But there have been many athletes.
But we have had thousands of us. And I've always say that many of these other athletes that you have not been able to hear about them is how they are able to handle the fame, the money that comes in quickly. Yeah. It clouds you. It clouds the being able to be humble, to be able to have humility.
When it first hit you that I'm famous, that when it first hit you, like after we realized,
yeah, of course. I mean, when you win a race, you come back home. Maybe you are driving around, or even you are walking, and you see people are noticing you, and they are like, you see that person, that is so and so. You realize that you're suddenly famous. And for me, my coach always, and I would never tire mentioning about him. He would always tell you, Wilfred, you're nothing, you're just like another athlete that I have. Unfortunately, with my agent, my coach, he had coach also other Olympic champions. So you're just nothing
so
but one among the many that he has had. And therefore, I would always look at myself as just Wilfred Bungei, not the Olympic champion, not the world champion, not the world record holder, because I hold the record holder until now for the 4x800 meters relay. So, but many times, that has never clouded my judgment of or how I behave myself, even in public or when I meet people. I'm one person that I like to be with anybody and everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me, so now it's past 2008, you've announced your retirement. Why exactly are you retiring, and what did you go do? After you went to the rehab and got clean, then what?
For me, immediately I announced retirement, I had, of course, plans of what I wanted to do. And it's a very important question, because there is challenges that most of our Kenyan athletes face, and not only athletes, I would say, and all the sportsmen and women. If you look at statistics, I was reading somewhere, and they say that if for 5 Premier League footballers, those guys who are paid in billions of Kenyan shillings, out of 5, 3 will go under within the first 3 years of retirement. And then 1 will go 5 years. Maybe only out of 10, there is only 2 guys who become successful in whatever they choose. And the reason why we have these challenges is, 1, lack of preparation for retirement.
Those are really bad statistics.
Exactly. Most of us, sometimes, we retire maybe because of injuries, we retire and we didn't want to. So you do not have something that you want to do with your life after retirement. For me, I already set my mind that when I retire, what am I going to do? Of course, as I said, again, I was idle there and all that, but because of still the preparation of what I wanted to do. So as soon as I was done, I had gone through a treatment center. In 2012, I decided to venture into hospitality industry. I opened Tortoise Hotel. As much as, of course, I'm out of the same business. I think one problem that I do is when I lack motivation. I just
get bored.
I get bored easily. I'm one person that get bored easily, and especially in business. If you realize that this business is not picking as such, you just want to quit and do something else. Of course, I got out of that. I went, even I still do. I'm in the construction industry. I'm happy about it. I work with Eastern Produce Kenya, EPK, doing different projects for them. That is what I've done. Of course, again, came 2016, 2017 before the polls.
Yeah, and you jumped into elections.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me why.
I decided to run for the parliamentary seat.
Yeah.
And there are not many reasons that I have. But
Mgwen.
But basically about 2 or 3 reasons why. When you are an athlete, when you are successful, always you would find people, they come home, they want help here and there. It happened that, at a certain point I needed to assist someone, and I went into a certain office. I wouldn't mention the name of the office that I went. The guy told me, Wilfred, come and see me, maybe we can do 1, 2, 3. In the process of waiting to see him, some politicians came from Rift Valley, not the heavyweights, let me use that word. They walk in there and they open the door and they just enter in there. They sat there for almost close to 3 hours. When the person came, he said, Wilfred, I'm really very sorry. These guys have kept me. And I've realized in this country, if you really need to help your people, most of the time you need to be a politician. You may have a name like Wilfred Bungei, but you cannot be able to assist everybody else. Okay,
it's sad though.
It is sad though that we held politicians so high, and we forget even some of the professionals that have brought glory to this country, or even those who are working in certain departments in this country. People who are they love to help people, but at the end of the day, it's only when you're a politician. So for me, it's more, how can I be able to help our people? How can I be able to move things? It's only when you are a parliamentarian that you can be able to do a lot of things. Number 2, I saw when I was running, there was a period that, we had Kenyan athletes, sportsmen and women, talking about taxes, double taxation. Yes. I'm sure many of the Kenyans, they heard when the sportsmen and women were crying over double taxation. And during that period, we had guys who were athletes themselves, but they decided to join us in the streets. And you know what I told people always? I said, being a parliamentarian, if you need anything to be done, if we don't want to talk about double taxation, do legislation. Why don't you form a
Bible says to whom much is given, much is expected.
Absolutely. So I say that, as a politician, it is easy to push some of the things, even things like retirement for our sportsmen and women who are really languishing in poverty. This country is not so poor to an extent that we cannot get these guys even 10,000 or even register them for NHIF, NSSF, put little
give
amount
them a decent
retirement. But at the end of the day, nobody talks about these things. We only celebrate. Look, we are talking about the Olympics now, and we will be celebrating about the performance. But let's look at 10 years, 15 years from now for these athletes. What is there for us? What are we doing as a country for these people? That is basically what I have looked at. Number 2, of course, and I appreciate what Alex Kuskei has done over the years. He has been there now for 10 years. But I felt at that time that, what we were lacking was was real representation on the ground. Because again, as a politician, you have got to be on the ground to listen to the people. I can tell you, ladies, for free, that when I ran for the seat, I told guys I will not make any promises for you that, you know what, elect me so that I can come and do A, B, C, D for you. That is what politicians do. Most of our guys, they will say, you know what, if you elect me, I will do a bridge. For you, I will build a bridge. Even in areas where there is no river. I always ask myself,
they are building bridges.
you want to build bridges even where there is no river. I mean, how are you going to achieve that? And you know what the biggest, the misfortune, the unfortunate thing that happens here is our people will clap, even for lies. I lost that election with a margin of less than 1,000 votes, or about 1,000 votes. And you know why? Most people told me, Wilfred, the problem with you is because you are so truthful. You know, being a politician, you have got to be able to lie. You know, sema uongo kidogo. And I say, I grew up not to say lies. But of course, I mean, the people that we have been, they know what I stand for, they know what is there, and I can tell you, ladies, for free, I'll still be running for the seat come 2022.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's a race like the athletics race? Because, you know, you said you took the stairs. It wasn't an easy road to the top. And, you know, again, in politics, it hasn't been an easy one. You started and it was not. Do you feel like you're mirroring the athletics trajectory?
Well, apart from mirroring, but trust me, I'm happy I lost. I tell my supporters that I'm happy where I lost. And they are like, are you insane, you know? Why would you say that? I think in the last 4 years, since I lost the election, I've learned a lot about politics. I've learned a lot about also the people that you can be able to trust and not to trust. Unfortunately, sometimes you go into an election, you trust everybody, and you get those guys who will call you and they tell you, ni wewe tu, you know, inyegityo. And at the end of the day, you know, when it comes to such kind of things, I've realized that even getting that seat then, I may have been
blinded to many things.
Yes, and also hit by the people to say that, you know, why did you lie to us? Because I realized that some of the individuals I was dealing with at that time, you know, would definitely lie. They will tell you that there is a fundraising here, while in reality, there is no fundraising. You would realize that you become an MP, you do not know places. Currently, I can tell you that I know every corner, every village in the constituency of Bungei. And therefore, if there is anything that is happening somewhere, definitely I know whom I can be able to call from that area to get the real detail of what is happening.
You've taken time to study.
Absolutely, yes.
One of the worries of the electorate is, you know, they change with the politicians. Unfortunately, so many guys have gone in there with good intentions. And, you know, and with really good intentions and completely, you know, changed. What do you feel about that?
You know, let me tell you one thing. The first thing that I told the people, and this concern that you have brought up, it's a very genuine concern for so many people, and I understand why people have this concern. They feel disappointed most of the time. I've always told you guys, when I started running, most Kenyan athletes, they will always look at statistics. 99%, they don't live in an area where they were born. For me, I was born in Kabrisan. That is where I built my house. That is where I stayed. That is where I did most of my projects. If you look at even when I went into the hospitality industry, I had a choice to move to Eldoret. I had a choice to work in Nairobi. I have properties here in Nairobi. But at the end of the day, I still felt that, you know what, the best way that I can be able to help my people is to invest there, so that even if I can employ 1 or 2 people, you know, it makes a difference. And that is why I said, I have told the people of Bungei that look at Wilfred Bungei, look at his statistics, look at the time that he was running. What was he doing? Where did he invest? And that is why I cannot...
This is who he is.
Exactly. There is no way that I can think that today getting that seat, you know, will make me change and will make me to say I live in Nairobi. I've lived in Nairobi for more than 20 years. Okay, from the time that I was running, I mean, as I said, you know, I still have properties here in Nairobi. I can decide to remain here. But I have this thing that the best way to give back to the society is to give back to those people who brought you at the level that you are so low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ideally, what would you like to see in terms of, just in your vision, assuming you're MP, by the time you are no longer MP, what impact do you think you would like to have left in the lives of the people?
Just like athletics, you know, I think in this country there is only one captain that is known, and that is Wilfred Bungei. Go to anywhere, even internationally, Like in Italy, my name is not even Wilfred Bungei, it's Capitano. If you look at the 2008 Olympic Games, it came at the time that this country had just come out of post-election violence. And that is why I've always said the kind of medals that we brought is as a result of the unity that was there. That I sat with them. If you look at the team as well, you know, Samuel Wanjiru, for example, won. He was a Kikuyu, but every Kenyan was celebrating.
Absolutely.
When Pamela Chernimo won, you know, she was not running as a Kalenjin. She was running as a Kenyan, and every corner of this country was celebrating. It is something that I am so proud of. I'm not so proud to be an Olympic champion, but I am a proud man to be a team captain of the best team that we have had in recent years, and something that was able to bring this country together. My hope always is I would like to be remembered as a real representative of the people of Mgwen, whereby when I retire, people will miss that period that you are an MP, and they say that we felt that we were represented both nationally and both on the village level. Yeah. Because that is what I would like to be able to do. You know what I mean? What is the best way that you can help your people? Listen to them. Listen to ideas of what they want. Okay? As I said again, whenever I do my campaign or I meet people that we talk about things, I would say this. I will not promise you that I will come and do ABCD. My promise is one thing. I will come to the ground, I will listen to you, we will go with your priorities. As a people, my slogan was change from within. Levis, I can tell you that if you need a true change, let it come from the people. If you need to make an impact on individuals, let that person who has an idea that, you know what, if you hold me this way, I'll be able to succeed. It is their idea. They will be able to sustain it. They will be able to continue with it. That is basically how we can be able to help this country change.
Yeah.
I mean, we always talk about the Asian dikers. Ask yourself, how did they reach there? It started with the people. That is basically how we can be able to do things.
From the inside out.
Absolutely.
What do you tell the young people who look up to you and, you know, they talk about athletics, or some of them even are struggling with addiction, and different. What do you still impart with young people? How do you connect with them? What do you tell them, especially in your constituency?
Well, I do motivational speaking in and out of the country, and there is only one thing that I always remind anyone, you know, that in life, the best thing to do always is stairs. And I will tell you why I use the word.
Because they are watching you. I'm going to give you that as a parting shot because we're about to close. Talk to them.
My inspiration to our young people, and especially those who have just finished high school or those who are schooling, is one thing. In life, the best thing that you can give to yourself is to have a life that you take stairs, not a lift. I have my reasons why I say it is a stairs. You are able to have a landing position and then climb again. Have a landing position, you learn so many things. But when you take a lift, I can tell you that the way you will be able to come down, it will not be as easy. The landing itself won't be easy. And getting back up is almost impossible.
Yeah. I like the landing position for the stairs, you're right. Because lifts need boom.
Absolutely.
Stairs, maybe you only fall one flight.
Absolutely. You can only fall one flight, you can learn something, you can think about it, and you ask yourself, why did I find myself here? Yeah.
And you can climb again. It will be to ground floor.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wilfred Bungei, such a pleasure. Thank you so much for gracing us. By the way, tell us, as we close, what do you think about our prospects with the Olympics?
Well, I think there is something that is happening. Whenever we have games in Asia, we tend to perform as Kenyans, and I hope that at least this team will be able to surpass the medals that we got in Rio. And if not, because of the challenges of coronavirus, let's hope that at least they will not come below 5 gold medals.
Which races do you think are sort of assured?
Well, of course, I mean, we have the 2 marathons. Definitely we will have, most likely we will have 2 gold there. We have our traditional steeplechases. We have the 1500 meters women. That is 4. I'm very hopeful, you know, for my event, 800 meters. Both for men and women. So you see, those are races that we have a very big chance of getting medals. Yeah. Yep.
The rugby boys say they are trying to. We're going to be watching them this week and seeing what they're going to do.
Sure.
And of course, we have also quite a good team of volleyballers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
And we appreciate it. We'll be watching your journey in Mgwen.
Yep.
And seeing how you run that race. And feel free to come back. We can have these discussions even on Siasa now.
I will be very happy to do
on national politics and local politics.
Yeah.
Wilfred Bungei, folks. The legend himself, 800-meter gold medalist at the 2008 Beijing Games. He is still imparting wisdom and still talking to the young people. And as he said, take the stairs, not the lift. I'll leave you with those words. Have a good day. God bless you. And see you next time.